Hi there. World War I, also known as the Great War or the First World War, will be the topic of our conversation today. So let's get started right away. Central Powers and Allied Powers, who fought in the war. Let's start by learning which nations took part in this conflict. The Central Powers and the Allied Powers were essentially the two sides. In essence, Germany, the Ottoman Empire, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire were the Central Powers. In contrast, the Russian Empire, Japan, the United States, Britain, and France were all part of the Allied Powers. The war's primary causes were nationalism, militarism, alliances, and imperialism. Let's now discuss the primary causes of this conflict. Militarization was the first. The militaries of Germany, Britain, and many other nations had grown significantly. These powers were forced to enter the war as a result of the rise in militarism. The establishment of alliances through a number of treaties is the second explanation. For instance, Germany, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Italy formed an alliance in 1882 when they signed the Triple Alliance. In 1907, Britain, France, and the Russian Empire formed an alliance known as the Triple Entente. Numerous other alliances existed, but we will talk about them more as we proceed.
Colonialism, also known as imperialism, is the third explanation. The fact that European countries, such as France and Britain at the time, had sizable colonies throughout Africa and some parts of Asia is probably not surprising. One of the main causes of the war was the growing rivalry between these countries as a result of their desire to build larger empires.
Nationalism is the fourth explanation. The wars in Europe started and grew as a result of each nation's desire to demonstrate its supremacy and power. Furthermore, the desire of the Slavic people in Bosnia and Herzegovina to join Serbia rather than Austria-Hungary was a major contributing factor to the start of the war. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was the direct cause of the war. Let's now examine the direct cause of this conflict. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was the direct cause. In June 1914, he and his spouse were killed by a Serbian nationalist terrorist organization, specifically by a man named Gavrilo Princip. Due to this assassination, Serbia was given a list of demands by Austria-Hungary that it was unable to fulfill. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia as a result of this.
Start World War I. We now need to understand that Russia mobilized its troops as a result of an alliance with Serbia. Therefore, because of its alliance with Austria-Hungary, Germany declared war on Russia. In other words, Germany and Austria-Hungary were allies, and Serbia and Russia were allies. Thus, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia on July 28, 1914. The First World War started on this day.
Great Britain then declared war on Germany after Germany declared war on France as well. Later in 1914, Germany deceived Russia into believing it had been attacked by Turkey, then known as the Ottoman Empire. In other words, up until this point, Great Britain, France, Russia, and Serbia were pitted against Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. At that time, Belgium and the United States were neutral, but this was to change as the war progressed. (1917) events, USA's entry, Russia's exit. I now want to bring up a significant development that happened in 1917. Infuriated by the attack on its ship, the United States declared war on Germany in early April. Later in November, Russia withdrew from the war as a result of the Bolshevik Revolution, also known as the Russian Revolution.
1918 saw the end of the war. All right, let's move on to 1918, the year that the war came to an end. Germany agreed to surrender its weapons, give up a large portion of its navy, and leave occupied territory when it signed an armistice on November 11, 1918. The First World War had far-reaching political repercussions. First, Germany lost a great deal of territory, and the Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian empires were split apart. Turkey, Poland, and several other nations that were split off from Austria. Hungary became new nations. After that, many acres of land were rendered unusable for many years by chemicals and gun shells. Large tracts of land in Belgium, France, and other countries were destroyed.
The effects of World War I on the economy. There were also significant economic repercussions. First of all, the war consumed a significant portion of the economies of many nations. Taxes increased as a result of the government's need to borrow funds from their constituents. In addition, governments began printing money, which resulted in inflation or a decline in the currency's value. Now, the European economies also collapsed as businesses closed because of a shortage of workers. And those that produced weapons also began to close because there was nothing left to sell when the war ended. Ultimately, between 18 and 20 million people lost their lives in this conflict, the number of deaths in World War I. This was the bloodiest conflict up until that time. However, in 20 years, another war that would be even more destructive than this one would break out: the Second World War.
Synopsis and conclusion. In any case, don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you're interested, here is a summary of the First World War's causes, effects, and Allied and Central Powers. Remember to click the subscribe button, by the way. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.